Hello, I'm Karrina Taylor-Brown of ReMax Executives, and today we're going to talk about reading the condominium documents. You may have written a contract, and as you know, in Virginia, you have 3 days to look over the documents. So one day somebody dumps this huge package on your desk or delivers it to your home, or perhaps you get an email with 9 or 10 attachments, and you're like, my gosh, how am I supposed to read through all this, and what does it all mean? Well, we've got some really good protections in place in Virginia now. We're up to 18 different items as of July of last year that are supposed to be included in these condominium documents. And this is to educate and protect you as a future homeowner, investment condo owner, so that you become educated about what you're getting into and what the condominium involves. We'll talk for just a second about what it's not. It is not your condominium certification letter, your condo cert letter. This one is, how many questions on here? 29 questions will be required by your lender, and they always look different on the condominium. Actually, all this stuff always looks different. But the condominium certification letter, it comes out from your lender, from the buyer's lender, asking financial questions about the condo. Percentage of owners to renters, how many people are delinquent, what's the amount of money in the reserve fund, etc. The lender wants to know that you're getting involved with a financially stable condo. So that's one you pay for. All these documents here are paid for by the seller, delivered to you. You have 3 days to look them over, by yourself or with your realtor. Now, the first page in these documents, and item number 1, it says that you should have a statement telling you all about your condo. I sometimes call this the cover letter, condominium certificate for resale. This one's been prepared, and this spells out the items here this is the cover page for all of this information. You want to make sure you're getting the right unit. This is unit 723, parking space B2. Perhaps they put parking space 27. B2, that's the one that comes with the unit. The accurate monthly fees, and this one is $587.55. Whatever is said on the marketing materials, that was may be true, may not be true. This is the accurate fee. The next thing you'll see on there is any balance of a special assessment that's outstanding. This particular condo, the sellers knew of their assessment. They're actually making monthly payments. They had the option to pay up front or monthly. They chose monthly. So there's a balance to be paid on this assessment. The standard contract and Virginia law requires the seller to pay off any assessment. So if it's not spoken about, the seller pays the assessment. If you want to be clear, you should outline that you're expecting the seller to pay the outstanding assessment at the closing table. So that gets us through items number 1 and 2. Number 2 is about the special assessment. Number 3, again, the condo fees. And any special fees such as move-in fees, things like that should be available here. Actually, this condo has the move-in fees in the bylaws, but any special fees in addition to your monthly assessment. Some places have require new owners to contribute to the reserve funds. I'm seeing this in some of the newer condos up in North Arlington. They don't have enough in the reserve funds, so they want the new owners to contribute into the reserve funds. Okay, item number 4 on here says, are there any other facilities that have to be paid in addition to the condo? This particular one, this is actually the Sentinel Landmark. They don't have to. The Sentinel is a freestanding building on a city block. Now, what you might often find if you're buying in Kingstown or Cameron Station or some other homeowners association, the condominium has to pay for its upkeep and repairs, its elevators, its roof, its painting, and then they will also be contributing to recreational facilities, snow plowing, trails in the community. So they'll be a portion that's paid to the condo, and sometimes when you write that one check, the condo cuts money to the POA is what they're calling it here, Planned Urban Development, Property Owners Association, Homeowners Association. Or sometimes you have to make 1, 2, or 4 checks yourself to the Homeowners Association. The one I'm selling in Penderbrook, they pay the condo and then they pay the Homeowners Association separately. So that's a statement about that. The next thing, and this is really important, the reserve study. Virginia law has required, they took best practices and they've required that condos have a reserve study. The reserve study should be done within the last 5 years. So this one was done July 5th of 2012. We're now in early 2014. So this is within 5 years. And this is where they send out an engineering, and this is Engineering Technical Consultants, Inc. They send out an engineer to look at the condition of parking lots, boilers, roofs, chillers, external skin of the building, hallways, etc. And then they determine a schedule of repairs. Perhaps the carpet's going to be good for another 5 years, and then in 5 years they'll need $200,000 to replace all the carpeting. And they'll drop all those numbers into these spreadsheets. Somewhere, you have to look for this a little bit, the engineer will recommend an annual contribution to reserves. One of the things that is really important, I feel, is to find that annual contribution to reserves and compare it in the next document that's on the list, which is the current budget. And you want to make sure, we're on the next item now. On the budget, you're going to be looking for, here's total income, 1.8 million. Here's total expenditures, 1.8 million. So their expenditures are not greater than their income. That's really important, of course. And then they are putting in $423,000 into replacement reserves. And they also have a capital improvements project going on over there, $40,000. This particular building just redid their lobbies and hallways. So they also had a capital improvements reserve. This replacement reserve, you want to make sure that that number matches or exceeds the amount that the engineer says it takes to upkeep the building. This is important. So take a look at that budget, and that is the next item. And then this is the budget that was adopted, that can't be, September 25th of 2014. There must be a typo in there. But this is the last year, 2013 to 14. Many times I get handed old budgets. And some condos will not release their budgets until they've been audited by their accountant and then released. And in those cases, those budgets can be quite old. But if you ask for it, they will give you a working budget that they're using that's more up to date. So that's the budget. Next, in this letter here, it will ask whether or not the condominium is being sued. And that's an important question. When the condominium is being sued, that's another question that's on the condo cert letter. It's very hard to get financing. Now, some big condos are being continually sued. Watergate at Landmark, there's somebody falls down and twists their ankle and looks for some workers' comp money or whatever. That's different from a major lawsuit where everything is up in the air, and there are a few buildings where that's going on. It's virtually impossible to get financing when the condominium is being sued. So there'll be a statement as to whether or not the there are no unsatisfied judgments against this condominium association. Okay, the next that should be in, that was number 7. Number 8, the insurance coverage. You'll get like this. This is called a certificate of insurance, and this will show you limits of $1 million for general liability, $1 million for automotive liability, $25 million on the aggregate umbrella liability. Very typical limits for a condo. You want to just check to make sure that this is this was issued July of 2013, so it's in place till next July. You want to make sure that they do have their current insurance paid. That's that one. Fairly easy to obtain and is in nearly every package. Or else, sometimes they just put a notice, call our insurance agent to get it. Okay, so one thing that I really like, this is a relatively new rule, just been in for the past 2 or 3 years. This is the last 6 months of board minutes, and I love to read these. Now these will be the approved minutes. Right now we're at the very beginning of April, so if there was a meeting in January, the minutes would have been approved in February and would make it into the package now. So you're not March meetings. You're not going to get March meetings in April because they won't have been approved. Now, what you will find in the minutes is you'll find if they're talking about putting rat traps behind the building to catch rats, or loitering around the property, or too many people trying to use the tennis courts, or noise floating up from commercial establishments, or getting ready to renovate, which could lead to an assessment. So what the owners are discussing and what the owners think is important to the ongoing running of the building, this is where you can find out what's been going on over there. And very rarely am I handed 6 full months of association meetings. For example, here we go, January, and then the one before this is October. Now, October, September, August. Now, so this one for some reason is missing November, December, and February. So what I might do if I was the buyer's agent is call up, or if I was the buyer, call up and say, well, I don't have minutes from December. Now, some associations don't meet in December, but you want to get the most recent 6 months of minutes that you can to find out what is going on, what are they thinking about at this building that you're going to be moving into or investing in. Okay. The next one talks to this certificate right here. This is this registers the condo with the State Corporation Commission. Actually, it costs about $50 a year and keeps on file who you can contact involved with the condo. It's just a document. Sometimes in very small associations they won't be on top of their paperwork. This makes sure that they're registered with Virginia. It's easy and important. Okay. A statement as to the limitation on the number of persons who may occupy a unit or dwelling. We have very few of those, actually, in Northern Virginia. Very few condos limit the number of people in the building. Skyline does. All of those buildings at Skyline have a regulation. And you'd be quite surprised by the zoning regs. In 1,000 square feet, you can have as many as 8 or 9 people. So don't rely on zoning rules, but we really don't have very many restrictions on the number of people that can live in a property. Okay. The right to display a flag. This one's, again, fairly new, and all the condos have had to come up with rules as to how they'll let you display a flag. So this one says the flag may be parallel to the balcony railing and shall not protrude outward perpendicular to the railing, whatever that means. So the rules on displaying a flag. Likewise, there are, skip ahead a little bit to solar energy. There's new laws saying what you can do to gather solar energy on your property, and there's old laws that make it available for you to use dish services. You may have driven by buildings and you see everybody's satellite dish out there. That was a lobby put forward at least 10 years ago, that the dish providers wanted equal access to units, and so there's quite liberal laws, or wherever possible you're supposed to be able to use a dish to gather your communication services. Okay. A statement indicating any known project approvals currently in effect. This will be as to whether or not the project is approved for FHA financing or VA financing or Fannie Mae financing, and it's quite a bit of work to stay on those lists. This one, she doesn't even speak to that. This is a pretty new law. This particular condominium is approved for FHA financing, so that's a very good thing. It's an extra level of certainty or confidence that you can have in the building if it's easy to get financing. Makes it a lot easier to resell properties where there is financing available for mortgages that can be sold in the secondary money market. So that's all the things that are now required. Now we've also got most of this paper, and most of this paper you don't really need to read. This is, in essence, the original declaration. It used to be required. The declaration sets up the legal entity of the condominium. It describes its physical boundaries on the ground, and then sets up each unit, which will then become a legal entity that can be bought and sold. So that's all the declaration is, and once you've walked into the condo, I mean, that's in essence what you're buying. So that's the declaration. All of that is kind of unnecessary. Likewise, these are the first bylaws that were set up way back when. How many votes to put the condominium president in place, etc. How many people are required for a quorum. that type of thing will be in the initial bylaws. But what's far more relevant these days is the updated bylaws that tell you how you can live in the property nowadays. So you have, from the time this is delivered to you, 3 days. If they deliver to you Friday, you have Saturday, Sunday, Monday. By Monday evening, you've got to decide if you're fine with all this information or whether you need to deliver notices asking for more information or asking for more time to figure things out. There you are. You can always call me if you have questions. I'm Karrina at 703-336-3745, or visit my website and perhaps there'll be some more information there for you.